Hello everybody, this is Scots pine. If you subscribe or you've checked out the playlist, you'll know that I applied a wire tourniquet to this tree a couple of years ago, and you'll also know that if you've seen a couple of my more recent videos that I haven't had as much luck with the tourniquet method as I would have liked, and I need to be more patient, I believe. Now, this tree has got particularly shaggy, and I'm not going to, let me see, I'm not going to try and get it out of this pot. I'm not even going to bother checking to see whether the tourniquet has worked or not. I'm just going to assume that, like the others, it's beginning to work. It's biting in, and it needs more time. But what I am concerned about is I do have a lot of branches that are getting very long and very leggy, and if I leave it for another year, they're just going to be longer and leggier and harder to deal with. So I'm actually going to give this tree a bit of a hard prune. This branch, for example, long and has some interesting movement, but it's quite away from the trunk before it makes its first split, and I'm actually going to just work my way around the tree, giving it, as they say, quite a hard prune. I'm going to cut away most of last year's growth. I don't know if you can see that. Try and avoid cutting a needle. Okay, that's off. This I'm going to prune back quite sharply. Same with this. Okay, I'm going to cut this one to there, leaving that fork, and I'm going to cut this one a little bit longer. Can you cut something longer? No, you don't. You leave it a bit longer. Okay, this one, yeah, I think it's just going to pay in the long run to be a little bit drastic with these branches. Obviously I don't want to remove so much growth that I kill the tree, but I do want to just pull it back in. It'll take up less room on the bench this way. That's not the aim. Some of these branches are probably a little bit low, and they won't be included in any final design anyway. But I'm hoping, let me raise the camera up a little bit and you can see a bit more of the trunk line. Okay, so this was where the original trunk was chopped. It was originally about 8 foot tall when I got the tree, but the top part of the tree had died off anyway, so I got it quite cheap. If you're a subscriber or you watch my videos, you'll know I like a bargain. This may be my intended front. I won't know for sure until the Bari shows itself. Which won't be this year. So I'm just going to work my way around the tree, and I'm going to keep cutting back these branches. I'm not particularly worried about pruning for direction or style. At this point it's all about keeping the tree back in a little bit of check, and getting some back budding going, some ramification closer into the tree, and stop it getting too leggy. So, you know, I'm not being particularly discriminating. I'm trying not to even think about it too much at this point, because I think if you think about it too much when you're doing a procedure like this, there's a danger that you overthink it, and that's when you can start taking off too much or too little, or, as I nearly just did, cut the end of your finger off. Let me move the camera around again so you can see. I'm going to shorten this quite drastically, and this one also. Okay, this one I've actually got, let me just check, can you see what I'm saying? No. I have a long branch here, and a very short side shoot coming off said branch. So I'm actually going to take off the whole of that long branch back to that side shoot and let that become a new branch. That's fairly drastic. Okay, let's just continue onwards and round the tree. I'm not touching the roots, I'm not weakening the tree from that perspective. I am taking off quite a lot of top growth, but I think because the tree is very vigorous and healthy at the moment, it will likely shrug that off quite happily. At least that's my hope. We'll find out if it doesn't. I will make another video, even if it's a disaster. I think if you bother to subscribe or watch these videos, it's only fair that you see if things go pear-shaped. I actually don't like that piece of tree there at all, so I'm going to remove it in its entirety. As I say, try not to think too much about what I'm doing too thoroughly. It's just a cutting back operation, and if it works, what I should end up with is a whole lot more branches and ramification for next year when I do decide to repot, which will give me a lot more options to think about. I've got two branches here that are both running parallel, coming from almost an identical spot on the trunk. Here at the back, I'm going to take off the heavier one. Right back in like that. Okay, so beginning to get somewhere now, getting this tree back in tighter to the trunk. Let's bring the camera down again as I'm working on some lower pieces. I do have a dead branch here. Another one here. I will leave those for now. They may become gins at a later date. Okay, so again, some of these branches are possibly too low to really be in the final design. I won't know till I get to the point of coming up with the final design. But that's all parcel of bonsai sometimes, that you need to be patient. So I'm going to consider about it for today, I think. There's a couple there that I've missed, which I'm not going to shorten obviously by as much because they're shorter to begin with. Okay, so that's a considerable amount of tree removed. See, just put the camera around. Yeah, that's what I've just removed. Let me see. The camera doesn't want to move. That's better. And if I move the camera back a little bit so you can see, that is made quite a considerable change to the tree. It's hopefully not too drastic. I'm sure that the tree will respond well, and it will be allowed to grow freely again for the rest of this year, and we will see when I come back to it next spring. Maybe I will take this tatty old piece of pot off and we'll see whether the tourniquet actually worked. Well, that's it for this one for this year. Hopefully it'll be back next spring. Thanks for watching and take care of yourselves.